Ready, Rory?
There you go.
Ready, Grant?
Yep.
I would like to call the board meeting for the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors to order. Mr. Veeder, roll call vote, please.
Leyland.
Here.
Little.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
White.
Here.
Felka.
Here. Please join me for a moment of silence to reflect upon our actions. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion to receive the agenda as proposed or amended. Has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. We have an agenda. Public comments. Do we have anybody in the boardroom that would like to provide public comment? Do we have anybody on Zoom or on the phone who would like to provide public comment? Item number 3, claims and payments. Mr. Perry?
This week's expenditures total $152,603.14, of which we have the Sheriff's Department at $10,845, secondary roads $22,416, conservation $12,899, and finally medical examiner at $10,870. Everything looked normal.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Any comments or questions? Mr. Veeder, roll call vote, please.
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Felka.
Yes. Item number 4, project updates from department heads, elected officials. Kathy?
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, County Engineer.
Good morning.
We've been working pretty closely with the Sheriff's Office to get ready for Ragbri. The roads we've gone over the roads, the route, checked that for potholes and that type of thing. We're ready for the riders to come in tomorrow. We've been working with the Sheriff's Office. We'll be at some of the busier intersections tomorrow, helping them out. Our guys will be, and then we'll stay probably until 6 or 7 p.m. tomorrow night, as the majority of the riders pass through the area. We'll be out Thursday morning assisting at some of the intersections along Dubuque Road as necessary as well. In other news, I wanted to just give you some instructions about the bus tour. I have given you a packet of information. Please bring that along if you remember. If you forget, we have extra copies. I know some of you can't join us, so that way you all have the same information. I've been told by the Met Transit Director that the bus will be here at 10 o'clock this morning out front here. So if the meeting doesn't go till then, we'll just reconvene at 10 o'clock down at the bus. And then I have some water and some sunscreen, and we should be ready to go. We have vests for you, so we should be ready to go at 10 a.m. then. Any questions?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department heads in the boardroom? Any department heads on Zoom or on the phone? Item number 5, approval of minutes from July 20th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Item number 6, the consent agenda.
Second.
Mr. Veeder, roll call vote, please.
Little.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes.
Felka.
Yes. Item 7A is a resolution that the construction and maintenance agreement between Blackhawk County and the Chicago Central and Pacific Railroad Company for HMA pavement widening and resurfacing to the existing Canfield Road crossing across tracks and right-of-way at Railroad Milepost 266.13 on the Dubuque subdivision in or near the city of Raymond, Iowa, with an estimated project cost to Blackhawk County of $1,100,000, be approved and direct the chair to sign for same as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer. Kathy?
Yeah, so this is in preparation for our resurfacing project on Canfield Road next year. The DOT requires us to have all agreements in place before we submit the plan set, and those are due in about 2 weeks. There's no direct cost to us for this agreement, but our contractor is going to be having to pay the railroad some flagging costs. So we, of course, expect those will be charged back to us in the contract prices, etc. So I would recommend that you approve this so that we can move ahead with our plan sets and getting this ready for next year.
Any other comments or questions for Kathy?
Move to approve.
Second?
Mr. Veeder, roll call vote, please.
Schwartz.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Jelka.
Yes. Item 7B is a resolution to accept the best bid submitted by ASIS for IT services for fiscal year 2022 at a rate of $8,979 per month and $130 per hour for additional work, and authorize the board chair to sign the contract for same as recommended by Kim Veeder, IT Director.
Yeah.
Kim?
Hi.
Hi.
Kim Veeder, IT Director. I do want to say that this is the recommendation of the IT Department as well as the IT Committee. Clint and I went through the 10 bids that we had originally and narrowed it down to those two, and then we discussed those further in the IT Committee. We feel that it's the best responsible solution for Blackhawk County at this time.
This is Stacy. Good, how are you doing?
Stacy, do you want to mute yourself, please?
Any comments or questions?
Well, I'm not
She's not
done. I just
Okay.
was going to,
Okay.
I didn't know if Stacy wanted to be part of the conversation or not. Anyway, as we compare these rates, yes, the base rate is a little less for LockNet, but we feel as the services that are not included in the base will, those costs are going to be $40 more an hour. We did 36 hours just for a comparison, but we feel that's very conservative, and it's likely that it's going to be higher for LockNet because they've indicated that anything that is not able to be done in their scripting platform will be billed at an hourly rate. And like I said, as these hours increase, the difference between the two options diminishes. And those scripts that are generated will be the property of LockNet, and Blackhawk County won't have access to them after the agreement's over with. And then there's the cost of staff time and disruption to services. The transition to the new provider will create additional work as we work with them to train them on our systems and our business rules. This will take staff time away from their daily work and ongoing projects. Staff will also need to be trained on LockNet's tools, and it'll be a temporary need as we would not have access to them after the agreement ends. We are expecting that with our current staff, we will be able to take on more of the functions and eliminate the need for a dedicated IT services provider by the end of the year, and that we would limit future needs to special projects with hours to complete as needed. So with that in mind and the goal of bringing everything in-house at the end of the year, we recommend that we continue to use ACES service as the best option for Blackhawk County.
Both companies that are listed here meet the RFP.
Yes. Any other questions?
I just had one, and this is one I probably should have asked earlier, but the 36 hours that you listed there, is that just an estimate that you think for this
Right.
additional
That
work?
we just were thinking 3 hours a month would be really, really low. So, but that's that we did to come up with that total, the estimate for the monthly, or the annual amount. And like I said, the IT committee, and you guys got recaps of that a couple times. Toki was here last week to speak to it. Unfortunately, she had a strategic session at the health department, was not able to attend. I don't know if Brian has anything he'd like to say, but we decided that with the limited time that we expected this agreement to be, that it made sense to stick with the people that we know.
Because that is the goal, really, is to kind of phase out the current contract and just do it all in-house.
Right, exactly.
This is a 1 year.
Yes, with a 60-day out.
I'll offer a motion to approve.
Second?
Any more questions, comments?
No, I think, I mentioned to Kim last week, after the meeting, I should have probably said something and to all of you. I said, we've participated in a lot of IT committee meetings. This is the first one. I happen to sit in on this one just as a larger group. And I thought it was probably one of the better IT committee meetings that I've seen, just because there was input from everyone, good, bad, and ugly, I guess I would say. But it was, and sharing, I guess, thoughts and plans and what was planned. So, yeah, I thought it was a great meeting, so appreciated it. And the work that everybody did to get us to this point.
Mr. Veeder, roll call vote, please.
Schwartz,
Yes.
White,
No.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
No.
Jelka.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8A, a resolution to amend the action authorizing the cancellation of outstanding checks in the minutes of
So moved.
Second.
July 13th, 2021, to read as follows. Be it hereby resolved that the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors authorize and direct the county auditor to cancel outstanding checks through June 30th, 2020. Mr. Veeder, roll call vote.
White,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Jelka.
Yes. Item 8B is a motion to approve the personnel requisitions submitted for an office specialist, full-time replacement with a start date no sooner than August 12th, 2021, as recommended by Brian Williams, County Attorney.
So moved. Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Item 8C is a motion to approve the personal requisition submitted for an account specialist, full-time replacement with a start date no sooner than August 9th,
So moved.
2021, as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer. It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Item 8D is a discussion in regard to new department head director performance evaluation forms. This is something we talked about a couple months ago. And our proposal, after working with Amanda, is to simplify the current form we have and just knock it down to one page, listing long-term and short-term goals, basically. And as these are being developed, have input from the supervisors and review these evaluations on an annual basis. Amanda, would you like to add anything?
Amanda Fesmeyer, HR Director. So, this is just kind of a starting point. We have had reviews in the past. You guys have looked at different formats. We can certainly build on this. I think the idea was to kind of get back to having an annual review for department heads and directors. So this kind of sets the foundation for the long-term, short-term goals. And then you can kind of build on that if you want the performance evaluation to kind of encompass more of the duties and things like that regarding the director and department head roles. So,
I guess I'd like to build on it now.
okay.
I appreciate, and I know, I definitely support that we want short and simple, because I think that's probably an indication in the last 3 years we haven't done them. And that's unfortunate and shame on us, but I think part of it was the cumbersome form and the fact that all 5 of us weren't involved, and this is something we're willing to try to do. I would like to keep it as simple as possible, and to me, the career goals and objectives are important, but we also need to be talking about their performance and evaluating their performance. And, whether that's them as individuals or their departments, I guess I'd like to see maybe something simple, maybe still with using one page of paper, maybe front and back side, something like that, but would have some of the questions, whether it's, meeting expectations. We've done some of this in the past, meeting expectations, exceeding, or needs improvement, those types of things. That's, to me, beneficial for the staff as well as something for us to look back at and compare for previous years to current to what we're doing. So if we could put something like that as part of this, I'd like to see that. I think career goals and objectives are great, but it's performance and how departments are doing and how the person himself is doing, I'd like to see, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I, for one, never did like to give rankings or ratings on performance evaluations. I also don't like to list deficiencies because I feel a deficiency should be handled throughout the year. So, and that's just the way I operated when I have used them.
So how did we gauge evaluation performance? I mean, as far as the person doing their job or not doing their job from year to year, or if there's issues or concerns we wanted addressed?
Well, it's the difficulty I see that with a board of 5 is it can be so subjective.
Who's gonna do the evaluations?
Well, the board, I would envision the board as a whole. We, here's what I envision. We have them fill out the form. After they've filled it out, they come to us. We individually add comments, and then we meet with the department head in closed session, in open session, whatever required under law, and discuss them, and then come to an agreement or finalize them, and in a year review it.
So you mean they would meet with us before we would have the closed session with each of us? That
I would
type of
say you
thing?
could do it at a closed session or an open session, and every board member would have opportunity at that point to ask a question or review the document that's in front of them. That's the only way you're gonna do it. There isn't a person here that actually shadows a department head all day, every day, like they have their own department, so they know their employees, so it's gonna take a collective group, which is us, and I think we ought to have them fill out the form like you indicated and then have a session. And I'm assuming they'd probably want it, I think it's our option if the code calls for a closed session.
Yeah, I agree. I believe it is their option. Mike would render an opinion on that, but I think the employee would have a say as to whether they want it open or closed.
That's correct.
You're only looking at what, how many do we have?
Would be those that just report to the board.
Yeah.
So you have HR, maintenance superintendent, county engineer, IT, and then the finance director,
That's about it.
I believe. We do have, they're not just, Colleen Shipper is the general assistance coordinator. She doesn't, that is kind of her own little department, she doesn't have any staff, but she does technically report to you all. That's just a little thing that was new when county social services separated from us. So you may have a 6th one, if that's something you guys want to.
She's even more far removed from us than
Right.
typical department heads.
And maybe that's not but that's just FYI.
But yeah, no, she was, I know, responsible to us. Yeah.
And I like the form and the setting goals. I share some similar concerns to Linda. I just think that we need to have someplace, if there are any areas of concern, that we're formally documenting those. I think that's important to be doing, so that we've got kind of that record of if we're trying to build upon and improve upon something that we're concerned about.
And that makes it a little more difficult with shared executive power. When an issue arises, I think,
Well, how does it make it different? I mean, they're responsible to all 5 of us, all of our staff are, and even if we have differences of opinions on how good, bad, or whatever a performance is, it's still collective.
but when you get right down to it, and we get down to the hard questions, the majority rules. I mean, 3
Well,
steer the ship.
yes, but 3
But
of
in this
5.
case, you're just really looking more for a collective information from 5 individuals on the employee's performance and so forth. So
I can look at just adding a box of like an overall appraisal of performance. I mean, I think if that's sufficient, I mean, we can look at the previous form has been pretty cumbersome where it outlines every single duty in a job description, and that's where it's gotten to be a little, just a lot to, and also doesn't really get at the gist of, you guys are, I think, looking at more just the overall, like Tom said, you aren't with us every single day, but maybe just a general performance of looking back in the past year, what went well, what maybe.
your
some areas to
overall
improve.
department.
Yeah,
the
as like an
operation of your
over.
department,
Yep.
budgetary concerns and so forth, so.
Kind of those high-level leadership type items, maybe. I mean, we can look at that, and I can always submit another one to you all.
Yes, and I think, what's important to me is I want to see what their goals are, short-term and long-term, and then try to gauge whether they're realistic, or some goals are too simple, and we
Right.
might have to say, kick that up a notch.
Once again, that's subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So some may think it's great, some may think it's, yeah, it needs to be kicked up a notch. So you're right.
But
It's
most importantly, I want to look at them and as an individual, as an elected official, figure out how I can, what I need to do as a supervisor to help these department heads achieve those goals.
Right, well, you mentioned earlier something about nurturing employees, and I thought, I see that as maybe important for our role too, but also for them and their employees. So those types of questions and things too would be good to know. What they're doing, I guess, collectively, or to encourage teamwork, or their departments.
Their performance is gonna reflect on how their department's doing.
Yep, yep, if they meet timelines, get projects done,
Exactly.
those kinds of
And
things.
even budgetary, like
So
I
things
indicated.
that maybe bring that up, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I'll,
There's a question or two.
And I think the goals that they list should fall under the umbrella of what's behind us.
Yep.
yep. Well, how about I take another, shot at it, and we can kind of come back and revisit it before we distribute it to the department heads for their feedback or their participation.
Good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8E is a discussion in regard to county preparedness and possible updates for COVID-19. I did get a message from Nafisa that she is at a workshop, but is there anybody from the Department of Health that would like to provide an update?
I don't see anybody on here.
All right, any reports or information from the board?
I think they should have been here today with what's going on with COVID. They should be here every week. Someone should be here every week to report.
All right,
I'd like to know the numbers and what's going on with, whether it's going up here in Blackhawk County or what's going on.
I will advise Dr. Ngbonye.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's some interesting things going on, and again, that seems like there is a vast amount of misinformation out there, and I'm trying, I go to several different news sources and public health sites to try to decipher exactly what is going on. I do feel that being vaccinated is important, but I also feel it's a personal choice. I just wish we can convince more people to get vaccinated. Any other information or reports from the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Well, we'll have a recess, and then we'll reconvene at 10 o'clock in the parking lot. And if you're not there at 10, you may miss the bus.
And